Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including Young Justice, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm Sarah Potter, and today I'm joined by Dylan Hysen.
Hello.
And Allie Martin.
Hey.
We're going to be talking about episodes 17 and 18 of Season 3 of Young Justice, Outsiders, First Impression, and Early Warning. But before that, you can find everything about this podcast at overlyanimated.com, and you can subscribe to us on iTunes at overlyanimated.com/iTunes, or on YouTube at youtube.com/overlyanimated. So yeah, this is the next two episodes of Young Justice, and let's just get right into it. Dylan, what'd you think of these episodes?
I enjoyed these episodes. I guess the positive one. I don't know if Allie will be generally positive on the show, but I really, really liked First Impression. I think it's one of my favorite episodes of the season. I think this is, I guess my overall take is these two episodes are when sorely needed in terms of getting this half season on track in a direction. Last three episodes were enjoyable, but it was all over the place, and it's what is the show even about? And First Impression is so focused of an episode. It's probably the most focused, simple. It's not simple in terms of it's not complex narratively or anything, but just it's not all over the place. Episode of all of Young Justice Outsiders. I love everything with the formation of the Outsiders. I love basically everything in this episode. I think it's one of the best of the season for sure. Early Warning, I like less, but I still think there's a lot enjoyable there. It is really all over the place. Obviously there's this one scene which is potentially problematic. So that notwithstanding, I think that this is I do think it's also a good episode. It is kind of all over the place. That being said, it still is in service of getting the season in in a focused direction. I do think it connects to the previous episode and to the potential future direction of the season. So I also like generally what that episode is doing. So yeah, I don't know. I was a fan. I always just really enjoy watching the show as again, I'll emphasize a casual Young Justice and DC fan. So I'm going to mess up character names and stuff. Very casual. I am is always up for watching the show, problematicness all over the place or not. It's at least going to be a lot going on, and, great animation, and it's just, fun.
Yeah, cool. Allie, how would you feel about these episodes?
That was pretty much everything, but I agree with pretty much everything. I also enjoyed First Impression more than Early Warning, but I had fun with both, and, they are both just here to kind of set up what is going to happen from here, but obviously, because it's the beginning of the what is this, the third part? No, the second part.
Yep.
Of the season. I don't know how to feel about Halo, which is pretty...
Yeah, we'll get into it. Don't worry.
That's the fan base majority opinion, but I don't know. As another casual fan, I just enjoy the kind of craziness, for lack of a better term. But also, there is a complaint that, the complaint everybody has is that there's too many characters, but I also just like getting insight into everybody, even though there's too many. So, I don't know. It was enjoyable, but...
Cool. Yeah.
Problematic.
Yeah. I liked these episodes as well. I think I liked these episodes more than the first three. And, I don't know if you feel that too, Dylan, because I just really like that we're focusing on, one team. I can really just say, we're with the Outsiders now.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what most of this season is missing. I don't know why we took 17 episodes to get here, but I just think this is what the season is needed. We're focusing on a group of people, and it's at least a smaller group of heroes that are doing stuff, and we know what their personal goals are, and we know we know a little bit more about what the overall season goal is. And I just like that about these two episodes. It feels like we have a direction in both character and plot.
Yeah. I think I'd take the first episode of the half season over Early Warning, but in general, the direction with these episodes.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the first episode of this half is good. It's just I don't know. These two episodes just really push us, and I like that. So let's just get right into it. We'll start with First Impressions, and like I was hinting at, this is the episode where the Outsiders are formed, and Dylan.
Can I start with an observation, which is that this show is Young Justice Outsiders. That's what this season is, and it takes until episode 17 until we get to the formation of the Outsiders. That's the most ridiculous thing.
I think this is episode 4 of season 17, and I think it should have been episode 4 of the season, honestly. Like, we should have had, like, this team forming a lot sooner, and I think this season would have been a lot more enjoyable, honestly.
Like, I understand that there's a lot of people like Beatrice that are just enraged with, like, the way the show handles story and characters, and it's so non-traditional. But, like, what other show would wait until episode 17 to introduce its titular team? It's so nuts.
It is.
I just really appreciate how ambitious, maybe in a stupid way, but still ambitious it is.
Dylan, I misunderstood you. You like this.
I mean, he's not wrong.
I just like that it's so different from anything else that we're remotely talking about on this podcast, and different from most other things on TV as well.
I mean, you're not wrong. I can't say you're wrong about what you just said.
It kind of gets into anime ridiculous territory sometimes.
I mean, kinda, yeah. Oh my god. It is.
I swear, I was so surprised they actually formed a team named The Outsiders.
No.
Like,
I was
like,
sure it wasn't going to happen.
Never do it, right? Like,
I mean, did their catchphrase hashtag not surprise you?
Oh my god.
What was the hashtag?
We are all outsiders.
I like that. Yeah,
it's great, but you know.
Are we gonna tweet that one with this?
Yeah, I gotta tag the tweet.
Yeah, you have to now. Anyways, Dylan, you on this line of thinking, you liked this opening scene with Garfield talking to the Justice League about forming this team.
I love Garfield.
I know you do.
He's so sympathetic. He comes out of nowhere a little bit in the first half of the season, but once he does, he gets a lot of development quickly, or like characterization. And he's just a very good character on a show filled with a lot of like sketches of characters that aren't like real people. I mean, there are good characters on the show, but I do think the general main team has had a lot of good focus this season, even if they should be focused on more. They still have a lot of good stuff there. And Garfield's great, and just in general, this whole episode, the concept of like we need a team that's visible to like engage with social media, to like get the public stress. Like this like almost justifies. I think last podcast I criticized how much the show focuses on how much the world cares about the Justice League. It's like, oh my goodness, I don't care about the UN and the Justice League and how much the world cares about it, but it really, that's the thing. The show really is doing everything in service of something. Like it's not, there is so much stuff, but there at least is an intent there to do it for a reason. And now here's the reason. It's so now we're going to form this Outsiders team that does care about, that's all about manipulating public opinion or like getting sympathy for them. And the use of the social media and the live streaming, with this team. And, I just love all of that. And I love what Garfield's doing here. I think it makes total sense with his character. I love how it connects to the gorilla thief incident from the last few episodes. I really feel like First Impression just brought this season together for me in so much of such a much needed way with all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's a very modern idea for a superhero show. Like they're really delving into the idea of the superhero team existing in 2019. I think that part's interesting as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Allie, do you have this do you like Garfield as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely supposed to be the most sympathetic character, but that being said, I still love him the most. But I also did... I mean, I feel like if you didn't watch Teen Titans, you'd just have no idea, but otherwise everybody loves him. If that makes... I mean, it's kind of a bad assumption to make, but that's just how it feels.
I mean, it's
the way they set him up was done very well. Like, it just took a little bit, kind of, but...
I mean, that's a hard question. It's hard to guess how people would view a character like that without, like, the cultural osmosis that is Beast Boy, because I think there is a large amount of that from just, like, him existing in Teen Titans for our age group.
I do think, like, when Garfield, like I said, Garfield's introduced kind of a little bit late into the season, and it is, I think there is an assumption that you understand what a Beast Boy is. Like, you don't, like, not this Beast Boy, but, like, they don't spend a lot of time explaining the concept behind this character. But, like, I'm very casual, and I do, I watched the original Teen Titans, I know who Beast Boy is, so I think most people are, basically everyone's gonna know.
Yeah, and everyone's gonna know.
It did feel kind of abrupt because it was, like, in the middle of the second half?
It was. It was, like, it was the episode with the VR goggles, and it was one of the last episodes before we took the hiatus between these halves. But it was a good episode. Anyways, sticking with this episode though. So like we had this part where Garfield was like talking to Aquaman, and like it ends not with them like choosing to make this team for Garfield. It's Garfield saying, "We're making this team. You can either help us or not." And I think that was probably my favorite moment of the episode. Just like they were willing to like step up and do this instead of just like wait for permission from them to do it.
Yeah, I do like this sticking it to the Justice League a little bit with this, like moving forward without their permission. Because honestly, I feel like the Justice League a little bit sucks in the show.
It does.
Like
A little bit.
They're not in terms of like characterization, but just like they're not. It's not like they're getting a lot done from what we can see.
Yeah.
They're relying on these children a lot. So let's let the children do. If they're going to be so useful, let's let them do what they want here.
From what I can tell, most of the stuff happening is done by Young Justice, and the Justice League just kind of shows up every now and then to do a little bit heavier lifting. But even then, it doesn't seem like they're necessary to solve the problem.
A big concept in these two episodes is the fact that like the outsiders aren't tied by what the Justice League's politics of like the Justice League is tied to the UN's contracts with or whatever. And I think that's a very successful concept in the context of the show, considering we spend so much time with the UN and with public opinion and stuff. And so I think this works with the buildup we've gotten.
It definitely feels like we, the audience, are freed from the ties of the UN storyline as well as them, the characters. Cause like, I'm happy to just be like, we're focusing on them saving people instead of focusing on the politics of it. Like, I want that. I care more about them going out and like saving Brooklyn and saving Cuba from problems and stuff.
Brooklyn, Maine.
Oh, is it Brooklyn, Maine? Is that what it said?
Right?
Okay, cause here's the thing. I saw it said Brooklyn, and I'm like, that doesn't look like Brooklyn. And now that you've said it's Brooklyn, Maine, that makes so much more sense.
I'm gonna quickly verify this, but I'm fairly certain this is which I didn't intend to be correcting with what I say. I was just pointing out the absurdity of this being
No. Thank you, because while I was watching, they kept saying Brooklyn, and I'm like, that does not look like Brooklyn. That looks not. For the rest of your listeners, I'm saying Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn, New York is the much more.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Maine. They said, but yeah, it was like a small town. The sheriff and the mayor.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. Also, there was a ton of Scooby-Doo references in this town for some reason.
Do you mean Velma Girl?
No, there was Velma Girl. The guy shows up and he said, you like, we'd have been fine without you meddling kids.
Oh, they
did.
Yeah, I forgot that.
Like, there's a lot of stuff like that, little things, and it's just, I don't know why they did it, but they did it.
Velma Girl was then talking in like weird language. What were they doing?
I don't know what they were doing with Velma Girl other than her being Velma.
I don't think she said Jinkies.
she said other like weird words besides Jinkies though. I think that was just really.
It was just all the people in that, they were all really endearing. Apparently the group was, I don't know if you know this Sarah, but they like the reference. There was like News Legion or something.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're doing a gender bent Newsboy Legion.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
I guess. I mean, of course, everything is like a reference to like one comic from 50
Yeah,
years.
I mean, of course it is. And listeners, I'm sorry if we miss one reference or two.
But yeah, I like that group. They kind of distinguish each character to enough of an extent. This episode is just so unlike the show because it spends time to characterize these minor people instead of like jumping around the 50 different heroes, and we're all in one place for most of the episode. It was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, and we understand the threat, which is the Reach coming back. There's these the outsiders rush to Brooklyn because these Reach from season 2, these Reach ships are back and they're terrorizing this small town, and Aquaman shows up to fight them, and he's quickly defeated, but the outsiders are there and they stop it. They end this threat pretty quickly. Like, it's not really like, there's never really a worry that they won't be able to stop this during the episode. I don't think I was ever worried that they were gonna, like, mess up, like there was gonna be any, like, consequences. This felt like practice, and that kind of frustrated me through the episode until the end, which we'll get to. But for me, like, Allie, did you feel like this fight was, like, even before we got to the ending, this felt like it was really kids' gloves, like, the whole time? Maybe it was just me.
I gotta be honest, I don't remember that much of what happens. They deactivated the 3 little ones, and then the huge one came, and they deactivated that. It was done, I feel like, kind of Blue Beetle did most of the work.
Yeah, like, it didn't seem like there was a lot of danger involved. It was just Blue Beetle
so
touch.
Much. Yeah. Just because, like, people might have been around.
But that said, I was still fun to watch, I'm saying. But I mean, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to see them working as a team, too. How the dynamic is.
Yeah, that's true. It is kind of like the team dynamic training type thing that they did a lot of with with characters, the Nightwing who doesn't exist anymore, right?
Yeah,
Where is Nightwing? Where'd he go?
Like, he's around. He's at the end of the episode.
Yeah, no, but he doesn't even talk. He's just standing.
But he exists.
But, like, this really feels like a season 1 episode. Like, it feels like Garfield started the episode, he's like, hey, can we do, like, season 1 again? And then they do. Like, that's what it feels like.
I think my observation, more than it didn't seem like they were in danger, was it was just always enjoyable.
Yeah.
And it was like happy, versus the second episode as more typical for this show with like the body horror and like Clarion like just completely they get separated, but at first like just killing these people in a ruthless way, and it's like this is hard to watch. And like I mean and not that it's like bad or anything, but it's like it was like such an enjoyable, fun fight. Like everyone's working together, there's no bad stuff happening, yay.
And they're joking with each other, like the heroes like feel like they have time to like banter a little bit. Like it felt fun. And but then we get then the politics comes back, and the outsiders get arrested because they're technically vigilantes outside the law, stopping things, and obviously the town yells their defense. Does this plot feel like I'm not really sure where this plot's ending. Like, is it just gonna be like, yay, the heroes are good, we don't need to arrest them for being heroes anymore? Is there something bigger going on here? I'm not sure. Like,
in the outsiders' view of the outsiders. Okay, that didn't make sense. But the public's view of the outsiders. No, I think that this show is not capable of not doing like public perception. I mean, it's all about like public perception and people liking them. I think like Lex Luthor and stuff will push back against them, and that'll be.
But I mean, like Granny become involved.
I guess. Granny. But like for me, like I would hope that if this happens, like there's like a little more complexity to it, not just like, oh yay, heroes good again. Like I want there to be like them to realize like, wait, isn't this just the Justice League again, and we have laws against that still? It's not like they can't.
Don't worry, they're doing that. They're not. They can't resist.
But I mean, like I want it to be like good, not like.
This kind of seemed like it was a tease at it, but I hope they stop.
Yeah, because I want them to be like, oh, laws still apply even if you just change your name. Like, that's what it feels like. It feels like the outsiders are like, if we're not called the Justice League, you can't use laws about the Justice League on us.
What if we're called League Justice? Then do you have to...
Yeah. I want the Justice League to return from space and be like, oh, we're just called the League now. You can't stop us. Like if it was that simple, like just imagine how the world.
Yeah, it is kind of stupid that they're like, we're not the Justice League, we're the outsiders, but thematically it really works.
I agree. Yeah. I'm joking about I'm nitpicking here because it's funny, but I do think thematically I agree it works, and I do think it really. I appreciate it because I wasn't sure where Garfield was going earlier episodes, but this feels like a good climax to that arc there, where he was just like. It made sense with what he was doing by looking at his feed. Like, I wasn't really sure in previous episodes why he was looking at Twitter, looking at his likes, and now this clearly says he was, like, thinking. He was actually, like, considering what he could do with that, and I really appreciated that scene specifically.
Also, just like we spent so much time with Garfield out of the blue, and it didn't connect to the Markov or the trafficking. I mean, he had trafficking stuff going on, I guess, but like, it's like, why are we spending so much time with this character? Okay, it's because he's the leader of the Outsiders. That's very satisfying.
Yeah, it is. I was not expecting him to be a leader of the group, but this fits really well. I don't think he's a great leader, but I think this is great for his character, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, he's gonna get. He's too gung ho. He's too showboaty. He's gonna get one of his people seriously hurt.
I expect that. Yeah, but it's still. I'm still excited to watch that. Like I
think that could be good. Yeah, good plotline.
I also really like the little thing he has on his neck when he's a animal to like talk to people. I think that's pretty cool. We see that in this episode.
Yeah, had we seen that before?
No, we hadn't.
Does that work for everybody or just like the team?
Unclear.
Yeah, is it like Martian head talking, or is it like a piece of technology, or is it Martian technology?
I think it's tech because like in episode 18, like when he turns into a bug, it like falls to the ground and he can't talk to anybody anymore, but he's still there. And I think that's supposed to be them telling us he can't talk without those little things that fall off him.
Yeah,
there's like little earbuds.
Could be alien tech, so it's not really descriptive.
No, it's just black circles.
Thinking back to our discussion, can I admit something?
Yes.
I want to tell you if this is bad, my fault or the show's fault. So as a casual fan, I have very little concept of what the Reach is.
The Reach are the people that made.
No, I don't want an explanation. I want you to tell me if that's my fault or not.
Okay. Okay, Dylan. The Reach were the villains from season 2, like through the entire season.
Oh, I don't remember that. Come on.
Yeah.
That's literally 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm telling you, Dylan. They're the villains from all you need to know is they're the villains from season 2.
Okay, so it's yeah. I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Me not knowing it's like the villains. You know, there's a lot of villain groups.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't remember who it was either.
But all you need to know is that they made Blue Beetle's Beetle. Like he had his suits from the Reach.
And I think the episode did explain.
Yeah, it did.
So that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's fine, but sorry, I just find it funny, Dylan. You're like, who's the Reach?
I just want to piss off the listeners.
I mean, I'm sure you did. I'm sure someone's throwing their phone across the room right now.
I mean, I should have rewatched seasons 1 and 2.
No,
you know,
I mean, like,
I don't think it's their. They can't assuum that everyone did. Before.
No, they
People
can't.
do that? I didn't do that.
I mean, they really can't assume. I agree. To the next part of this fight, after they get arrested, like, cause they just accept being arrested and then a bigger ship shows up, which also is just it's just another bug.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, just another ship. And then they all fly into the ship, and then just Blue Beetle does something. And like they're all inside the ship, but only Blue Beetle does anything. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, no, I had that observation too. Kind of related, Wonder Girl.
Yeah.
She's like a main character now, but she was not a main character before.
She was in season 2 a little bit, but now she was tacked on to season 2, and she's tacked on to season 3.
Yeah, like I've seen her this season, but she's
no
at like 0.1% of the screen time. Why is she on the team? I think her saying I couldn't not let there be a girl on the team, I think that was actually the writers realizing, we didn't write any girls onto the team. Yeah, was that them making fun of themselves? Like,
I think that honestly was, because they're just like,
probably.
We have no girls.
But also extra muscle, and she's a girl.
Well, no, I'm happy she's here, but I think
but it's contrived.
Yeah, and also, like, I feel like her saying that, like, it's lampshading, but it's also just like, you could have just wrote more girls. Like, you didn't need to do this. You could have just wrote more girls onto the team. But I guess that's how it is. Other than that, like, that's really the end of the fight. Like, they just fly, they stop the ship, it flies into a pond, and then they don't get arrested. Like, there's a part with, like, the US military, which is just there to be like, the US military can't stop this. Only the heroes can. Which is fine, I guess. But, it's just there to... This is just like an all-around win for the outsiders. Like, they just win, and social media is a buzz, and we are the outsiders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there any part of this that I missed, Allie? Any part of this?
I just had a question about the base. Like, is that supposed to be, someone pointed it out, probably like on a YouTube comment, that it's supposed to be the Titan Tower?
Oh, I was gonna go back to that base, I meant about the fight specifically, but yeah, we can go to that.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant...
No.
They do have they have the new base in this episode. Yeah. I liked that part.
Yeah, I was gonna go back to that. I just wanted to focus on the fight first, cause...
I barely remember the fight, I apologize.
Yeah, no, it's fine. The fight was like a bulk of the episode, I just wanted to make sure there's nothing like there you wanted to talk about, that's all. I really wanted to get there because there were Scooby-Doo references, and I was really confused about them.
Are there any more Scooby-Doo references?
Not that I could tell. Maybe some of the voice actors are, but, like, I'm not hip enough to I'm not, like, up on all the Scooby-Doo voice actors, unfortunately. But it feels like everything was kind of pointedly about Scooby-Doo at times, and it was very strange. I was expecting a dog to show up, honestly. But it didn't. Anyways, I guess we can move on if that's it on that. Because
next episode, Beast Boy will turn into a Great Dane, hopefully.
Hopefully. I was honestly expecting Beast Boy to turn into a dog here. And, like, turn into, like, a big dog during this, when the guy came up and did.
Okay, that's an...
Anyways. I guess we can talk about the base, because the base is really cool. Before all this fight stuff happens, we get a tour of the new base for the Outsiders, which is just gonna be a bunch of teenagers hanging out in a tower, and all the adults are like, that's not a good idea.
And look, there's a purpose for Dr. Jace.
Yeah.
Like, she actually has something to do.
And, yeah, Dr. Jace is here, and she's still menacing. Like, she still has this
Do kids need anything? Some condoms, a snack?
Yeah, she... Yeah, I want to see
honestly,
her
that's
in
what I
that role.
expected.
I know, like...
You can't let teenagers live alone. Hey guys, I got the birth control.
Doctor.
But it was less of like, I can supervise these kids, more of like, I don't really have anywhere to live.
Yeah, no, that's what it was, wasn't it? It was like, I have nowhere to be. I can just be here. And like,
for like half a year now.
Yeah, but Allie, I totally agree. Dr. Jace is totally the like supervising mom that's like, yeah, you can go ahead and fuck, but just use protection.
Just because she's also Grey Delisle, I just am like picturing her doing stand-up about that kind of thing.
Is she Grey Delisle? I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, she is. Or Grey Griffin.
She does a
Grey
lot of
Griffin.
the. Oh yeah, she's Grey.
I think she's she's Grey Griffin.
Yeah.
She does a lot of voices on the show, I think.
Yeah.
Like extra voice.
I think she's. She's Gabby Gabriella as well. She's the news.
Oh.
She's the person who's live streaming the whole thing.
Oh, that's good. Where is Dr. Jace's kind of boyfriend? He's really been missing from.
He has not. Yeah, I don't think has he said a single word since the second half has started.
No.
Black Lightning, because he's just
Black Lightning and Nightwing were like really major characters in the first half of the season, and they have not been here.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
It's really
thinking
weird.
about it now. I'm kind of disappointed.
I guess the whole Nightwing team has really not been here.
And also, Black Lightning's character arc about kids was kind of resolved,
That's true.
But I mean, I'm also like really, really suspicious of Dr. Jace. So Black Lightning, Black Lightning has to come back if Dr. Jace betrays everybody, because it really feels
Dr. Jace is not evil.
She's suspicious. She's shady.
No, I love her.
I mean, I love her too, but it's like Lotor all over again, Dylan. You can't you have to admit that she's bad.
She does not have the charisma of Lotor.
No, she does not. She does not, Dylan. She's not
Nobody
your
has the
prince,
charisma
or your emperor, but
Yeah, she is in fact the opposite. I would say she's fairly boring.
Yeah, she is very boring.
Yeah, she kind of.
I think the only other part of this episode, well, there's one other little scene. Artemis is talking to Terra.
That's the B plot is Artemis.
Yeah, which is not like a lot of stuff, but I'm fine with the B plot being like kind of subdued while there's this fighting going on, and like it's not complicated, which is also great. Like this episode finally figures out it's okay to have like a complicated A plot if the B plot's also just like a little simple story, which I'm fine with. And I think
this is the first episode of Young Justice Outsiders that doesn't have a C plot.
But I really enjoy it. I enjoy this for it. Like we have more time to focus on the A plot because the A time just has more time based on the fact that there's not two more plots going on.
Yeah.
Definitely benefits from not having so much clutter.
Like, I don't love the B plot, but I do appreciate Artemis connecting with Terra a little bit. Like, we're finally digging into Terra being a spy, I think, a little bit more with her realizing that she actually has to be friends with everybody.
Too. Was that weird scene in this episode where she's on the phone?
Yes.
This next episode?
No. This episode's when she asks if Deathstroke has any orders for her, and he says no.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah.
Okay. And so
but the next episode, you get the impression like, oh, is she going to turn? Like, is she liking these people? That's next episode.
Yeah, and then we'll get into that in a second because I want to talk about the very end of this episode before then. Because otherwise, I don't think there's anything else. Do you guys want to say anything else about the B plot? I don't think there's much here. There's just
the Justice League.
Yeah, let's talk about the Justice League.
I'm eager to talk. No, I'm not.
I know. Yeah, I'm sure you're eager, Dylan. It's revealed that this all was a plan. They, the Justice League set it all up so that the Outsiders would have a win and look good in the eye of the public, and Garfield is not invited to this meeting, and he does not know what's going on. So...
Yeah, but they didn't anticipate the big ship, though, so they did do something on their own.
Yes. But the big part of this is that this is 100% gonna fly back in their faces really badly. Because every time in Young Justice, they always have secrets from parts of the team, and every single time the secrets cause problems. Because that's the only plot they can write in this show. Just people hiding secrets from each other.
Do you think that they made it too easy on purpose? Like, kind of like Child's Play?
Oh no, that's what I think. They definitely did it. They definitely, I think that's what they even implied. They gave them 3 enemies that Blue Beetle could easily dismantle and just...
Damn, I didn't think about that until just
now. They basically manipulated the situation so they could get traction as a team.
And I felt that watching the episode, I was just like, oh, this is more just to be fun, there's not a lot of threat here, and I was kind of disappointed by that, and then we get to the end of the episode, and I'm like, oh, I was supposed to feel that. I was supposed to feel like this fight wasn't difficult, because they say it.
Yeah, a little bit of a negative reaction to the reveal in that it took away some of the happiness from the new formation of the new team, and they're doing great. Yeah. And but it wasn't a big thing, and it did explain the events of the episode more. And it also was it does need something, it did need some complication or some wrinkle to it. So I think it was a good addition to the episode.
Yeah, it needs that Shyamalan twist at the end.
Yeah, it does.
Very minor choice.
Which, can I be honest, I definitely missed the ending. I totally forgot that they planned it all.
I mean,
So if that gives you any indication about how much I pay attention, there you go.
at this point, it did not affect anything.
I mean,
but
yeah, it doesn't.
It'll come back. But.
Like all we need to know is that like the league is hiding secrets from the outsiders, and the outsiders assume they're in the loop on everything, and that's not going to go well with Garfield because his whole thing is he wants to be open about everything.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I guess another little thing is that Violet, Terra, and Forager are not actually part of the team, but they're in the tower anyways.
Wait, okay, is her name Violet or Halo? I keep getting confused.
Violet's her name, Halo's her hero name.
Whoops, my bad. Because after she figured out, or after she had her memories returned, was she going by a different name? She was like, I'm not Violet anymore.
No, Gabrielle, I think she had a crisis.
It was Gabriella.
She had a crisis where, like, Gabriella was her name before, and, like, she wasn't sure if she was Violet or Gabriella, and then she decided that she's Violet. Like, that was a decision she made.
I remember now. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. There's a lot happens every episode. And with that said, do you guys have anything else you want to say about this episode? Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Alright, let's move on to 18 then, because I think there's a lot more to talk about, a lot more to dig into, and not necessarily a good way.
A lot more problems, basically.
Yeah, so a few weeks after the last episode, the Outsiders are saving people, and it's going well, and I think we're just gonna, I think we're just gonna jump straight to the Violet stuff, because I think I'm more interested to talk about that, because everyone else goes to Cuba to fights and stuff, and it's pretty dark, but Violet, Terra, and Forager go to school in Happy Harbor, and
you're like, let's ignore the A plot, but let's talk about like the kind of C-ish plot. But it is more interesting. Yeah. That being said, we got to go back today. It's eventually to talk about my girl Zatanna.
Oh no, Dylan, we have to talk about Zatanna. But Violet, I feel for Violet, and I need to talk about this because I feel
I'm
like
just so confused.
Yeah, let's get to this because so this plot starts with them waking up in time on the West Coast to go to school on the East Coast. Which they at least reference it to being crazy.
Fucking terrible idea.
Yeah, no.
By the way.
That's so stupid. Like,
where's my boom tube to do that?
Yeah, like the craziest part is that it's light out, which I do not believe. It would have to be like 4 a.m.
At 5 a.m. Yeah.
No, it'd be 4 a.m. to get to school at 7. I went to school at 7 a.m. when I was in high school.
I went to school at
8. There was definitely no light out on the West Coast when they were boom tubing, but they made it out to be like the sun was rising. It was fine. But anyways, and Dr. Jace pulls Violet aside and says, "Hey, you're dying for real, bro. Like for real."
I hate it. I don't understand why.
Hey, Violet, remember all those times you died and you were fine? Well, it turns out that was actually not great, and you're actually dying for real this time.
Yep. I didn't like this. Does anyone have anything to say about this?
Oh, I have a comment. These 2 episodes, Violet doesn't die, but learns that she...
Wow. So it's never good for her. Ever. Them.
But Sorry. Dr. Jace is like, it's fine, I'll cure you, and it'll be fine. Don't tell anyone, it's fine.
Wait, did she say that?
Yeah, well, Violet decided not to tell anyone, but Jace, like, pushed her to do that.
I guess if you're on the Dr. Jace's evil train, then the fact that Dr. Jace doesn't want Violet to tell anyone, ostensibly not to cause worry, but could be that she wants to manipulate Violet or do something with Violet.
Yeah.
There could be something there.
I think she's gonna run a test on Violet to try to get the mother box. I think she just wants the mother box out of Violet.
I think so too.
I trust Dr. Jace. Well, I blindly trust. We didn't see Dr. Jace running tests on Violet, right? Like, so this came out of nowhere.
No, she got the hair. She got the hair at the end of at the end of the first half. She got the hair from a brush when she,
I don't remember that. That was 6 months ago.
We talked about it on the podcast.
I don't know why I remember
because we talked about it on the podcast, or I forget who I was with on the podcast, but I talked about it. And she took the hair, and then in the first, and then like, during one of the first 3 episodes we talked about last week, Jace was also experimenting with the hair. So they at least tried to remind the audience that it happened.
Yeah, I didn't remember, so fail.
I don't know if that's the show or you, Dylan. I remember.
I would say that one's me. If they reminded us last 3 episodes.
Yeah, they definitely did, Dylan.
Did they?
They did, Allie. I'm sorry.
No, I just whatever. I remember there being tests run, but I don't remember if it was explained why.
The listeners probably love this, by the way.
Look, Violet had a day because she learned that she's dying, went to school on an opposite coast, kissed a girl, drank, shot a gun, declared she was not Muslim, and what else?
She did really have a day and a half.
Yeah, and then she got arrested and got picked up.
Got arrested.
And then what?
At first, when I watched this, after I was like, "What did any of that Violet stuff have to do with anything?" It was just all this random crap. And thinking back, it's like, okay, she's dying. And she's like, okay, what do we, screw this? I'm just gonna go be a punk and do, But the episode like doesn't really try to connect it for you. It's just like, here's Violet, she's dying. Here's Violet with this girl who we barely know, and she's kissing her and shooting a gun. It's like, okay.
But I kind of, okay, I'll say this for this C plot. I really do appreciate that they don't lay it all out. Like, hey, she's doing this because she's dying. Like, I kind of like that they just let you understand that's why she's doing it. I still don't necessarily think everything she does is good from a writing perspective, but I like that they don't explain it. Like, it's just...
I think it's ultimately fine, but it threw me for a loop at first. I have a thing I want everyone to be proud of, is that I remember who Harper Lee is. I remembered her from the first
she's
episode.
from one of the friends from school, and she met Fred Bug with 2 G's, and she thought they were cool.
she had like one scene.
Yeah,
but I remember
she had one scene, but it was a good scene.
It was good, so that's why I remembered.
Yeah, she had one, she had more characterization in that one scene than most of the characters in this show. But it's true, unfortunately. We've been circling the drain here. Let's just get to it. Let's get to it. We go Life is Strange, and Violet and Harper are on a beach, and they're after Violet played hooky from training with Artemis. And they're shooting a gun at bottles, and like Dylan said, they're drinking alcohol, and they kiss, and it's not.
Was this a Life is Strange reference?
It felt like it. Did it feel like one to you, Dylan?
So I didn't immediately think of it, but once I saw people saying that, I couldn't think anything but that. So my next thought was did they really just do this whole entire plot just to reference Life is Strange? They couldn't have done that. It's so similar.
It is. It is
exactly the same.
It is
pretty much exactly.
It's a girl with blue hair or purple hair or something. I'm colorblind. It's purple hair, right?
I mean, Harper, she's not a character. They could have done anyone, but they do this. You do the Chloe lookalike, right?
It literally is just Life is Strange.
Yeah. Anyway, that's not even the.
That's not even the important thing.
We have things to talk about.
Wait, where did she get a gun?
She just has it. She is a deadbeat dad, I guess. So she
has a gun.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Anyways, so what I really.
This is America, Ali. She just has a gun.
I mean,
it's true. It's not. You're not wrong. But yeah, they kiss, and to make it worse, Violet says, "I have a boyfriend."
Wait. Don't make it to make it worse. Girls kissing good on the show. Let's start with this.
Okay.
We've never had anyone be gay on the show before, so this is kind of crazy, right?
Yes,
I guess there was the background thing in the first.
Okay. The first take, the obvious take is yes, it's good, but I'm digging past that. I'm sorry. We can start with yes, it's good that 2 girls kissed on the show.
Well, you're blowing past. This is front page. If they didn't throw a bunch onto this, then we would be like, wow, Young Justice actually did something progressive.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
But then they threw more on top of that, unfortunately.
Well, of course they did.
That's not my problem. I find this problematic just because they're both we both have boyfriends though, and then they kiss, and it's just I don't know. It feels like this is they frame this whole thing as just kind of just bad almost, if that makes sense. I don't know if I got that vibe. If you got that.
No, I mean they did that on. I don't know if they did it on purpose, but it was definitely meant to elicit that feeling.
That Violet was doing something wrong by kissing her, and that's not good, obviously. For a lot of reasons.
Yeah, okay. So I don't think we care that Harper Lee's unnamed boyfriend is being cheated on by her kissing. It's okay, it's teenagers. They're exploring their sexuality, or maybe this is her real sexuality. That's if the problem is we know Markov and we're invested in Markov and Violet. That's the issue here is I don't think there's a big moral thing to get past in them kissing. It's just that why is we doing this on top of this relationship the show is invested so much in?
But I think there is, because it's the way it's the way it's framed. It's the kiss happens, they kiss each other, then it's stated there's this thing for a reason we shouldn't be kissing, and then they kiss again, and so the show is kind of saying hey, we shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, well, yeah, in Violet's mind, this is not a good thing, right? Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. And it's not that I think that it's bad, that whatever, they're teenagers. They're gonna explore like this. I agree with you. But the show is telling us it's bad.
Exactly.
And that's...
Yeah, well, the show is saying, from Violet's perspective, obviously she's with Markov, and so she's not she's not going to think positively about kissing someone else.
Yeah, and that's fine from Violet's perspective, but that's the lens we're seeing through the audience, and I don't think that's good. And like,
I mean, I think in the show's mind there's going to be right. So obviously when we find things problematic, so let's get to why they're problematic, but also let's like say like, okay, what are the writers thinking? Are they trying to be like gay kissing is bad? No, they're not trying to be like gay kissing is bad. They're saying like in Violet's mind she's kissing a girl and like, oh, this is a new aspect of Violet. But separately, she's kissing a person and she's in a relationship. Like, they're separate concepts.
Yeah, sorry. I think
now whether we think that those were successfully presented as separate is up for debate, so we can talk about that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I think you're covering this a lot. You're talking about this a lot better than I am, Dylan. I do a lot.
Well, I always take up this perspective when we talk about it.
I know.
I think it's important to say, like, what is the show trying to say? Now, that being said, you criticize it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think I do a lot better with the gender stuff than, like, I don't know, the relationship stuff. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Was there anything else you wanted to say about this? I don't know if I had really more to say than this.
Well, what did you, so you think it was not, I said like the show is trying to present them as disconnected. You would say that they were not. They were connected because they're presented right next to each other, right? So like, these two concepts of like cheating and kissing.
That's what I was saying. Like, cause it literally is, she's holding the alcohol and the gun, which are two things that are not legal, two things that are wrong. And like, she had just fired the gun and it was like, there was this whole thing about like, she's doing things that are crazy and bad, essentially. And then, and then Harper kisses her, and then Violet kind of retracts a bit and says, I have a boyfriend. Harper says, I have a boyfriend too, or I do too, and it's like, it's framed as like, these are two more things that are bad, and then they kiss again. And then they're arrested. Like, there's this whole line of things that are,
arrested. Yeah, that's true.
There's this whole line of things that are just bad one after another, where I don't think the writers intended it to be this way. I think they weren't trying to frame it this way. I really don't. But it comes off that way, where this is just another bad thing. This is just another thing that Violet shouldn't do. Even, like, beyond, like, and I think they're just saying, like, hey, Violet, you shouldn't cheat. You shouldn't, like, you should calm down a little bit. You're getting a little crazy. But what it comes across as is kissing girls is bad. And or it could to some viewers. And that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I have a few comments about that. But Allie, did you react, when you saw the kiss, were you like happy when you saw them kissing, or did you like react negatively to the context of the scene?
Well, I was happy until she was like, I have a boyfriend. The so do I made it worse. Like,
yeah.
I kind of. But I don't know. I mean, after, like, you make a good point, Dylan, that like they set it up to make it clear that they know it's wrong, and at least clear that Violet is uncomfortable with it. So in that sense, it's okay, I guess, because again, she is probably dying, so she thinks she doesn't have a lot of time left, I guess.
Yeah.
I still don't understand, but like I was kind of happy, confused, and then them talking after the first kiss just made everything worse. But
did you end up with like a bad taste in your mouth from the scene?
Not really, but
okay.
I don't know, the thing with the police at the end made me kind of left a worse taste, because it's just, I don't know, America.
And then you like bring police into it. Yeah, that was
the police.
America's the worst.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
I kind of have two talking points about this on top of like the base level of like it was portrayed with negative things. That's not great for your first kind of major queer portrayal in the show, is to have it associated with a bunch of negative things. Like, yeah, sure, okay. But I think that this is like a valid scene they could show in media. Like you could show like a person experiencing their first queer moment in the context of all these things. Like this is something you could show. The issue is Young Justice is like incapable of nuanced portrayals.
Yeah.
So like this is a valid concept, but they made no attempt to show this in a nuanced way. They just had things happen, and we don't see Violet reacting to this. We don't see her grappling with like the fact that she kissed a girl. I assume we barely will see that. Maybe next episode. Like we don't see. I like that we don't have to have our hand held like Sarah said, from getting to like her dying to this scene. But like it would have at least provided context for her character's mindset. Like the show is just moving so fast that it just presents this stuff. It was the same thing when Violet said she was non-binary, is we don't get to hear her talk about it. And so like the show is presenting concepts in ways that could be valid if it handled them in a more nuanced way. It just is incapable of that because it needs to rush around to so many things.
Yeah, I agree. I think you helped me figure out what I was having problems with, and the issue I have is that this is the first gay kiss.
Yeah.
This is like the first one, and I kind of wish it wasn't in a negative light. Like, it wasn't something that was, like, or portrayed negatively to the character doing it. And I agree that the scene is, like, has a purpose, and it has valid purpose to the story, or to at least Violet's arc. But I think that's what I'm hung up on. The fact that we couldn't have just a stable queer relationship before this one at some point.
Have we really not had one in this show?
No, they haven't.
They had those background characters holding hands or something last.
They were feeding each other cotton candy or something, but it was 2 seconds.
So if this was like the third queer thing that they showed, then it would be potentially fine. But the bigger issue is that's like a big thing. And then also it's like, let Violet like talk about this, and like this needs to be an entire B plot at the very least, and we hear Violet's thoughts about it, and the show's just not going to do that. Go ahead.
Somebody go ahead.
No. Well, I was going to say that I think I agree that, and I think that the bigger issue is that Violet's just becoming like the queer character. Like, they're throwing everything at her. Instead,
it really is striking that they really are on top of being, non-binary and Muslim, except she says, well, I'll get to that in a second.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about that.
Person of color and wearing a job, and like, and now she's potentially bi too. It's like it is interesting that but again, like, this is a valid person that exists in our world, but it's not portrayed nuancedly, and in the context of the show, there's also not other people that have any of these traits. So like, it is a little off-putting, continuing to put them onto one character.
And also, in reference to what I talked about last podcast, like, she's also inhuman. Like, they talked about that. Like, that she...
Yeah, that we did talk about that.
That she thinks she's not human anymore. And that's kind of bad if this is your only queer character and she thinks she's not human.
Yeah, okay. I want to talk about another problematic aspect of the scene, which we didn't even talk about, is what she said she's not Muslim.
Okay.
So, first of all, I like the show. Let's remember that. I think that, and also overall like this episode. I basically like everything else the episode does. I even like this. I think I even like the scene overall. There's just no nuance. But she says, like, I'm not Muslim. Like, okay, why did you say that and then not elaborate on this? There's no nuance here. This is a valid thing you might say because, like, she's not the person the intent of the show, again. So the first reading, a lot of people are gonna have this is like, wow, this is Islamophobic, right? Because she just said, like, this character can't be Muslim. She treats it as a negative. So the show's perspective, I believe, is that she's the mother box, and so she's not who she was before. Being Muslim was part of the Gabrielle who she was before. So this is part of her, like, new identity. But, like, why did you just throw this line in there? You didn't explain that at all. And so, of course, people are going to react negatively to her just saying that. On top of that, there's, like, a real reading of this scene, which I think is probably not the intent of the show, but I'd like to hear your opinions, in that, like, that this scene is like seeing like, no, I'm not Muslim. Muslim is bad, because she's like defiantly drinking and kissing a girl, which, obviously that shouldn't be a part of, like, the bigotry should not be a part of religion, but whatever. Like, she's doing things that would go, like, is it like, of course I'm not being Muslim, I'm free. Like that, you almost get that reading, which is like terrible and I think that's not what they're saying, but it's and I'm pretty sure it's not what they're saying, but it's like unclear again, because there's just no nuance and they don't stop to talk about anything.
I agree that I think that they really stumbled through that. I think what they were trying to say is that Gabriella was, because she's very literal, Violet is very literal with her, like, the way she talks. I think she's specifically just saying, oh, I'm not Muslim. Like, she's specifically saying that, and she's not getting the context of the scene, I don't think. Like, she's not getting the context of Muslim is bad from Harper. But unfortunately, this show exists in our world where people think that way, and that you have to recognize that, I think, when writing it. I don't think the writers thought of that.
And then the biggest aspect of this is that a lot of, I think, Muslim people watch, and it's like, oh, there's a Muslim character that's fantastic, it's representation, and then in this episode she's like, I'm not Muslim.
I definitely don't like that. So, that part I'm, like, unequivocally, like, really upset about.
That sucks. Like, even if it makes sense with this character, just write this character in a different way so that she doesn't arrive at this conclusion.
Better way they could have done this is if she just says, I'm not practicing. You know what I mean? Like, she's, like...
Yeah, I'm not religious.
Yeah, like,
Or if she even was like, well, no, that would have been worse, probably.
Yeah, no. If she just said, I'm not practicing, that would make so much more sense, because, like, I'm Jewish, but I don't go to, like, synagogue every week, but I still consider myself Jewish. And I don't, and could easily accept if Violet just said, I'm not practicing, and then starts drinking. I think that's all she needed to do. Because she still follows, like, a lot of the rules of Islam. Like, she has the hijab.
Yeah, why is she wearing the hijab? Like, what's the show going to do with that,
like,
right? Like, is this... Like, that could just be a part of her identity, and so that's what...
She said,
but they're never going to explain that.
No, they did.
So.
Don't. They explained the hijab in the first half.
They did?
Yeah, she talked about how she wore it because Gabriella did, essentially.
But hasn't she, like, evolved since that point as, like, a person? Like, she probably have different, like, she should elaborate that.
I know.
I feel like that was, like, way before we've done stuff with her.
I honestly, my reading until this point was that it did evolve from there, and that she was wearing it because she felt an actual, like, attachment to it at this point. Like, she felt like she needed to wear it.
Right. And, yeah, I mean, all these things are, like, again, interesting things that the show could validly portray, but it is not explained.
Like my frustration mostly with this whole scene is we don't even know why Violet is doing this outburst. Is it from a part of, like, I want to do these things before I die? Is it from a, like, I'm gonna die, oh no, I want to just forget everything, like that kind of thing? Like, there's so many different ways her character could be pulling, and we don't know which way it is right now. We don't know which way she's tearing apart. We just know that she's kind of, like, having this outburst of teenage energy, and that's frustrating for me, because even, like, the most simple character motivation we don't know.
Yeah. I think it's just too complex for what the show is willing to commit in terms of time to this character, what we're doing with her.
You don't even need that much time to explain this. Like, you just need, like, 2 lines and you know the setup for the scene, and, like, I think it's framed a lot better. And I
did kind of think she would talk to McGann about what happened after she picked her up from the station, and that kind of surprised me. Or that she would just, like, cry, and then we would move on to the next scene.
Like, I'm looking back at season 1, and there are episodes in season 1 where they have these traumatic events happen, and then they have full conversations with, like, Black Canary, like a whole episode of just, like, therapy with Black Canary, and we do not have...
Oh, yeah.
Like, where are episodes like that in this show? Like, in this season? Like, that's what I really need. I need them to, like, sit down with someone and talk to McGann about stuff.
Yeah, and
Violet needs therapy.
Yeah, no, she does.
More than anyone, honestly. If you die at least once, you need therapy.
You kill your boyfriend's parents. What else?
Oh, they didn't
You're not
die a bunch of other times.
You're not human.
I personally, I'm fine with the show moving a million miles a minute and not wanting to stop to do any sort of specific character beats. But, like, if so, then you need to not do this stuff, I think. And if you want to have queer rep, it needs to be, like, in a simpler, like, clearly good context that's not this. Like, you can't, I'm fine. Like, I'm fine with, like I said last podcast, I was talking about, like, I'm fine with all the millions of characters, but, like, I think the show is doing that and also trying to do things that are incapable with that type of show, or at least incapable with the way they're writing. Because I think it's a valid point that Sarah said, which, like, they could have, within the context episode, they could have included things that would have helped the scene, but they just did not. I think that would have been, like, really, really good writing to get that in there and also do everything else this episode. And, you can never expect, I guess, above and beyond. So you should really just not try to do things outside of your means. I don't know, but I think they're just really mishandling this character at a high level, like, the specific execution is not there, but they should have made different decisions in season planning with her. That being said, I still really like this character, and I think there's a lot of fascinating things with her, and I'm open to seeing what we do with her the rest of the season.
Agree. I think Violet, like, is, other than Garfielding, she's probably my favorite character. I just feel like the show is not doing things for her character that I enjoy. Like, I'm not seeing the side of Violet that I enjoy from the show's portrayal of her. Like, I would love to see Violet in more quiet moments like this. Like, this is the kind of scene, the worst part is this is the kind of scene I want Violet in. I think that's why I'm so upset about this scene. This is the kind of scene I wanted for Violet, and it just is so, like, it stumbles so much through it. And I just wanted scenes like this. I wanted her to struggle with this idea of identity and with this idea of these things that she's not sure if she likes or doesn't like, because she doesn't know who she is. And we just don't get any of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot more of this episode here. I guess we should probably talk about that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we have a whole, we've only talked about like 5 minutes of this episode.
This episode has Zatanna and Clarion and new metas.
Yeah,
and,
we talked about
this random dude who we barely know joining the Outsiders, and
let's.
barely know him. He's a cool dude.
I like him, but
compared to Zatanna, which Dylan, you were really excited about Zatanna. Do you want to talk about Zatanna now?
Zatanna, she hasn't been in this series. She had a few things with, I guess in the first half, an episode or two where she was a focus, but she's my favorite character from seasons 1 and 2. I love Zatanna. I'm a fanboy. And, I was so excited for her to be in this episode. I do think it is, not, there's not necessarily a lot there. She's mainly just magic person who's doing magic stuff. But like, that's like the benefit of being Young Justice is you can not even write a character in an episode particularly well, but because you have so many interesting, like you have 50 characters that the audience loves, you can just throw someone in there and it's like successful. So I do think it was successful, mostly just because it was Zatanna, not because of like anything specifically she did.
Like if this was Dr. Fate, we would just, Fate or whatever his name is, like you just don't care. Like, because he's a magic guy, but we don't care about him. We care about Zatanna. Yeah. We care about her from previous seasons. We care about her because of her relationship with her father from earlier in this season. Yeah. Like, and I agree. It just works because of that. But in this episode, all she really does is she breaks apart the monster and then teleports the bad guy to somewhere he can't get out. Like, that's all she does.
Yeah. I was living for it, though.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I loved her existing. It's just I wish she had more, but the problem is that she has no, like, rapport with these kids.
You can't, there's nothing to write for her because other than the stuff with her father from the season, she doesn't have a thing. Yeah. Like she's no role in the show.
Her character,
she just exists.
Her character arc is very stagnant right now, so there's not really much for her.
She had like I feel like she had a romance thing with one of the Batman people.
I think it was
one of the many Batman people from
whatever his name is. Nightwing. Nightwing.
Nightwing, right? Like it's not the current, or I don't know, but it is the current Nightwing. Or,
it's the current Nightwing.
Yeah, like they had like they, but that's not a part of the season. Like there's just so many things. So like they're a little handicapped with what they can bring in with certain characters.
Are you as a Zatanna fangirl as well, Allie?
Yes, I mean I think everybody is just Zatanna stan.
I mean, like anyone who can pull off that outfit, like wow,
exactly, and do magic,
like. She just shows up and I'm like, oh no, all the Cuban people are gonna see her. And then she's just like, nope, I already thought of that. And I'm just like, yes, good.
They never elaborated on what other people see her as. Is the glamour like disguising her or is her making invisible? Presumably it's just disguising her, right? So what's her disguise? We never saw.
No, I wish we had seen like her show up and we see what the Cuban military sees and it's just like something completely absurd. I would love that. I would just love to know what she disguised herself as.
Oh, yeah, also, this episode takes place in Cuba. I have no idea why.
No, it just does. It just does.
Well, they could have more bad dubbing.
Yeah, they could do more. Spanish.
This episode is classic overly complicated Young Justice. It's like, why is it taking place in Cuba? Why is Zatanna here? Why do we need Clarion? Why do we need this all Violet plot? Why do we need new characters?
Why are Kid Flash, Blue Beetle, and Eduardo at a funeral? Like that's like mentioned for.
Oh wait, okay. I have a question.
Who died?
I don't know.
Who died?
I don't know. It felt.
No, you're supposed to know this.
No, Dylan. They said a name, and like for the life of me, I have no clue who it is.
I thought I missed it too. I was like, I'm just gonna ask Sarah on the podcast who that was. Nope, you don't know.
I have no clue. Why would I know?
Somebody tell us if you know the answer.
You're a DC person. You're supposed to know these things.
Is it Perdita? No, that's Garfield.
No, she's. I like her. She's not dead, right?
Like this person is like not even in the character list for this episode, so I cannot answer that for you.
The wiki doesn't even know. Okay.
Yeah, the wiki does. That's what I'm saying. Like the wiki does not know who this is.
That was real. There's got to be some. If they don't come back to the funeral that they were at, then this is like the ultimate. Just we need these characters to not be in the spotlight.
Oh, here we go.
And we're never going to explain why they're not there. Oh, you have.
I have it. Are you? No, this is not it. This is not her at all. No. This is something completely different.
Okay, don't try. Let's move on.
I have no clue. They're not in the episode.
This is outrageous.
Yep. Yeah, I'm very upset about this. I am very upset.
Oh, there's also a bunch of terror stuff in this episode too. Oh my god, there's so much stuff. And when I say it's all unnecessary, but from my perspective, I love it just because it's nuts and there's so much happening. So I do like it. But like, there's ways.
Wait, which terrorist thing are you talking about, Dylan?
The flashback.
Terra.
Oh, yes.
And Artemis is here,
let's finish the fight scene. Let's get out of Cuba, and then we can talk about Terra, okay? Because we still have to talk about one of the most upsetting thing about this episode, Dylan, and that's the flesh monster.
Oh, yes, please.
Like, one side of me loves, okay, earlier in the show and a lot through, like, even part of this half, like, they have this, like, thing where dark means, like, sexual humor and sexual assault for some reason. Like, they had that a lot, especially with and they also had it with Killing Halo. But, like, this kind of dark, like, this is okay. This is messed up and I hate it, but I also am like, okay, this is, like, something happening on screen. Like, that I'm not, like...
This is why I was saying it gets anime levels crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's just... disgusting.
Yeah, it's disturbing with the flesh monster. The part that was the most disturbing to me is that Clarion can so easily just manipulate the agency and life form and body of these metahumans, which I think is consistent. Well, taking people's agency away is like the ultimate horrifying thing for me in shows. And I think that the show consistently, like, it says, like, okay, if you have the metagene and you become a metahuman, then you can just be completely controlled and manipulated. I mean, now I'm remembering the season starts off with, like, this girl, like, melting and dying into this monster, right? Like, that's, like, the very beginning. And so it's just so upsetting. I'm not saying it in, like, a bad way, just, like, the reaction of the viewer. It's so upsetting how the light is able to just completely destroy the everything about these metahumans. And I kind of wish that we, like, there's, I guess, more logic, but I don't know, can you do this with humans too? It's just because they have the metagene, like, why? It's like super upsetting. In the context of the show, it's successful, like, it's supposed to be upsetting, and so I do think it's, like, a good plot line. I do wish there's a little more nuance with all the metahuman manipulating stuff, this included.
Yeah, I wish there was a little more nuance, but I don't know, this got a really guttural reaction from me, like, it was really messed up, and I think the show really, I think, like, the agency part is the more terrifying part, and I think I'm not sure if they realized that, like, sometimes it felt like it, but, like, I don't think people, like, characters in the show, I don't think Zatanna realized that the agency part was scarier. She's like, I can't fix the metahuman part, but I can, I guess, get rid of this. And it's like, no, Zatanna, them being mind controlled's a lot worse.
Yeah, well, she got it, that was good.
Like, she cured it, but I wish she realized that's a lot worse than being a fish lady, I think.
Yeah, I think that not if you can't find a pool.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
And it's, like, so disturbing and, like, kind of a light it is still kind of a light episode for the show, like, lighthearted in tone. And so that was a little jarring, and it was very necessary that they got back to normal at the end, just because it would have just been, like, really disturbing to the viewer. And if that's what you want, then that's fine. But I think this episode wanted more lightheartedness, so I do think it was good that they all kind of magically were back at the end.
And but and following this, following our conversation about Violet earlier in this, our talk about Violet, like, I hope, and I know they're not going to do it, I would hope that they would talk, like, they would get a thing where Wonder Girl would talk about how traumatic that is, because she's essentially part of this flesh monster. But, like,
no, but you see, she's not a real character, so she
can't.
Doesn't.
But all the characters seem to, like, bounce back really quickly. Like, there's, like, a whole thing there where, like, none of them have bodies, essentially, for a bit, and they're just, like, writhing in pain for what appears to be a long while before they get there. It's I don't know. There's a lot I wish they would dig into here, and they don't. And, like, I agree, like, if we're just gonna not dig into it, like, let's have an episode like episode 17 where we just stop the reach and we have this little wrinkle in it at the end with the Justice League. That's fine, but then you can't have this stuff where we move past the trauma and not talk about it. I don't know. I don't think it's that, I don't think it takes away that much from the episode that we don't get into that, but it does prevent it from being a great episode. No, I agree.
It's just like, okay, what we're doing is fine, but it's like, if we really wanted to do good things, then we could have gotten into some more complexity.
I think at this point we're kind of getting nitpicky, like, we're not getting, like, or I'm getting nitpicky, I apologize, in this, but I want this show to be better. I think that's just what it is, because, like, I remember previous seasons being really, really good, and I feel like,
yeah, last podcast I said a controversial thing, which I think this is the best season of Young Justice. It sounds like you disagree with that, sir.
It feels like this season, if it was doing some of the things we were talking about, it would be the best season. But otherwise, it feels like it lost the part, like, I think these two episodes are the best of the season, honestly, because we're focusing on one group of people. and not like drifting from that. We have time to focus on the
I feel like
group.
what you're saying is that this show lost the heart that it had in the first 2 episodes, the seasons.
Yeah, and then these 2 episodes, I think, kind of reclaim it for me. Cause
where's the whelmed and all the wordplay, and like they do a little bit of that, but it's mostly just a reference to the previous seasons. Right?
Yeah, like there's no like
there's the character relationships and the
like for me, like if you put Robin and Aqualad in a room, I know their general interactions. I know their general like reaction to something, what it would be. In this group, I have no idea how Beast Boy and Static would deal with something together. Like,
sure. I think there are a few like Halo and the Prince, right? Like I think,
or Halo with anybody, honestly. Halo
probably. She honestly is one of the better characters. Is.
But like, even though I love Garfield, he's surrounded by all these characters that I don't really care about, and that's kind of the problem. Like Garfield is great. But Static and the new Kid Flash and I guess Blue Beetle.
So I think Static had a fantastic introduction episode. Yeah. I do care about him because of his introduction episode, but they've done 0 with him. Or not Static, wait, Cyborg? Is this Cyborg in this episode or is it Static?
No, Cyborg's not in this episode. Cyborg's not in this episode, Dylan.
Oh, I thought it was Cyborg. Oh, no. Static. Okay, I don't care about
Dylan.
I didn't even know who he was last podcast. Yeah.
I think you might have got it confused last episode. Cause the thing is they all have the same models, so I understand your problem. But Static has like obvious like robot stuff all over. Or not Static, Cyborg has obvious robot stuff.
Okay, I care about Cyborg. No, Static.
Cyborg's real
Victor Stone. He's the football player who had that accident and he's part with the father box.
Right. No, I remember who he is. I just don't remember.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, well, it's probably racist to me confusing these characters, but
no, I don't think
Static.
So. No, I don't think it is because they use the same model. Like if it's their fault.
That's an excuse. They do. Zatanna does have the same model as, even though she's an adult, as all the children. Yeah. Static is not really a person.
And it's frustrating because even Kid Flash and Blue Beetle were characters.
Kid Flash
season.
is also not really a person.
But they were people last season, and we just took that away.
Like season 2.
Yeah. Sorry. In season 2, Kid Flash and Blue Beetle were like the heart of the season, and their interactions were like the thing.
Yeah, they've really had no screen time in Outsiders.
And now they're here and they're supposed to be important, and I've lost it. Because, like
I think Forager is a good character. Yes. Like, they really have focused a lot on the new characters, honestly.
But the thing is, they did it, I think they kind of did it wrong, because, like, I wish that Brion had led the Outsiders. I don't think he'd be a great leader either.
I did too.
But, like, I kind of wish that Brion led the team with Cyborg and Violet and Forager.
He's kind of the main character of the season.
And, like, I don't know why, like, and maybe Garfield jumps in and leads them, but why did Garfield lead and then bring in all these side characters that aren't characters? Like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't, from, like, a writing perspective, because all these other characters, I care about them at this point. You put in the legwork for me to see that there's the beginning of a heart of a team here for Brion and Violet and Forager and Cyborg, and then you're like, let's sideline 3 of them and put just Brion in the team.
This is a lot of what Beatrice was arguing last podcast. And I think there's a lot of valid points here, and you're explaining it very well, honestly.
I think I'm screaming less than Beatrice at the very least. Okay, maybe I'm not.
Certain tone, but yeah.
Okay, sorry. Am I screaming a lot? I'll be quieter.
No, you're not screaming. I'm saying Beatrice. I don't think it would be screaming, but it was like pleasant scorn for the show.
Compared to Beatrice's.
No, that's what she has.
Oh, do I have something else? I'm sorry.
You're just normal. No, we're talking normal.
Oh! I misunderstood what you were saying. I'm sorry.
I think in spite of all that, I still think it's the most enjoyable just because how ambitious and plotty, and but it is like, I think there are so many fans reacting negatively. I think it's just a different show.
I think they're still,
and it's a different show, but it's like, it's supposed to be season 3 of the show before, so that's, obviously that's going to be hard.
My issue is that the fans are mad and they don't like it, but they don't like it for the right reasons. Like, they're upset about different things. They're upset about, like, they're
no Wally, basically.
Yeah, like they want it to be season 1, and I'm fine with it not being season 1. Like, this shouldn't be season 1 again. We watched season 1 already. I want them to do something new. And it seems like they're just not doing something new now. Like, they're just going back to season 1 with characters that we just don't care about anymore. Even though season 1 was a good formula, so these episodes are good. Like, I like these episodes because season 1 had a great formula of just, like, these sort of Monster of the Week type things, plus, like, other secret stuff happening.
Yeah, and the reason I would say it's the best season, just in spite of agreeing with a lot of this, is just because it's a lot more consistent and ambitious and narrative heavy.
Yeah.
It would be the things I
That's also
right. Like, I feel like I remember seasons 1 and 2 of Young Justice occasionally having a standout episode. And it was like probably a more well-constructed show overall. I think these are good points. But, like this season, the way they've gone so serialized and so ambitious and so like, much narrative, I think really does help like at least every episode hitting in some way. Like there's always something that's really interesting in every episode.
Yeah, I'll say that. Like I thought that 17 wouldn't be like that, and then the ending, like, I'm like, okay, I'm interested in what's going on here now, and also the Outsiders forming, like, yeah, like, there's stuff going on each episode. I mean...
Yeah. How about Clarion and the new metas?
I was about to say, should we wrap up? But I mean...
Yeah, I could tell. No, Clarion Witchboy, that's a major... I remember him. Despite being casual, I remember this person.
Wait, he was around before?
Yes, he was in season 1 and 2.
Okay, there's one episode of early Young Justice I really remember, which is when they like all the adults disappear.
Yes, and that's involved.
Was he in that episode?
And that's the episode where Zatanna's dad gets trapped by the helmet. Like that's
was Clarion the villain in that episode?
Or he was one of the villains. Like there were 2 or 3.
Yeah, that's where I remember him from. Yes. That episode to me is like in my mind was the best.
Oh, that episode was incredible, and it has Billy Shazam, he's like going back and forth because his one form is an adult and one form is a kid.
That's why there's like Shazam movie. No one knows that. Like I do because
like that's one of the coolest like ideas for an episode ever. Just like him being able to go between 2 universes, like that's so cool. Anyways, we're getting no time for that.
Well, it's Claire, yeah. I like the cat, whatever I don't know what Clarion is.
He's
magic person.
He's a chaos lord or whatever. Like he's dark magic. But the big thing, what you need to know is the cat is his like familiar. Like if the cat gets hurt or like goes unconscious.
I got the impression.
Yeah, but I mean like it happens in other seasons. Like the cat like turns into like a tiger and stuff in other seasons.
I don't remember any of this. Jesus.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just know that, but I got the impression they hurt the cat and Clarion was disabled, so I understood that. The best part with Clarion is he gets transferred to this tower that's the maze.
Oh my god, this was actually like really funny.
And then the ending credits is actually the funniest thing that I've seen, and like is just him teleporting everywhere and still not getting out, and then the cat meowing. And
I did not find it funny when it was in the body of the episode, but when it's in the
no, it wasn't. It was boring, but then
the credits made it funny because like it was just.
I'm glad you guys feel the same way.
Because like I was gonna pause, I was gonna end the episode, like I was just gonna like, because I always just like they get to the credits and I like scroll through to make sure it's like an end credit thing or something because it's comic booky, and then like I was about to hit it and I heard him say it and I'm like. Oh, they're doing this! Like, it just hit me so hard.
I actually think that was, like, the funniest thing I've seen in, it was, like, not just, I thought it was, like, so funny.
The funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
In the shows in this year. Like,
it was one of the funniest gags I've seen. Just, like.
Funniest gag this year. Like, it's not even a comedy show, but it's, because the end credits are usually so calm and like, beautiful, and then this gag was, like, so good in the context of what they've been doing with the end credits and with Clarion and just humor-wise, just conceptually.
I kind of wish there was more humor in this show in general. I think earlier seasons had it, but I mean, I guess that's just the direction they're moving. But I thought this was great.
That was the best part of the episode.
I mean, I think I agree with you. This is it just hits so well, because like, it almost feels like the entire episode is constructed for this joke. Like, it just feels like it is. Like, someone had this idea of, like, this guy stuck in a building and him just saying, damn it, over and over and over again, and they're like, oh, that's great. How do we set that up?
It's like they really didn't wrap up the spotlight, but then they lampshade in the credits, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, like he's just stuck there forever doing that, and it's great. I'm sorry, Alan. I haven't really thrown it to you. Is there anything about this episode or what we talked about that you really wanted to jump in about?
No, just the end credits.
Okay. Just the end credits. Did you want to?
Because I thought I was the only one who felt that it was really.
No, it was really.
I was also.
It was really good. Did you? I know you said it had said something about the Spanish dub. Was there anything you wanted to say about that at all before we wrap up?
Just that I don't know why they don't hire native Russian and Spanish speakers.
Yeah, it's not great.
With Russian people, you obviously have to have white people doing a Russian. I mean, Russian people are white. You have to have American people doing a Russian accent.
Oh, but you have to have somebody who can speak Russian.
No, never. You always have to.
We just saw Stranger Things. This has to be how it works.
Yeah, were those actual Russian people? I'm not even sure.
But I mean, it might have been. I think it was actual Russian people. I'm pretty sure, or at least Russian Americans.
Was Smirnov actually a Russian guy? I don't know.
So. I think they were actually like either Russian or Russian American. Like, but the fact is, I don't know if they were. I think they were putting on the accent harder than they needed to, at the very least.
Well, in this, they just emphasize the way we do in English,
Yes.
and it makes me
It
uncomfortable.
didn't make sense.
Dylan's rapid fire rest of things that happened in the episode. Tara, like I said,
Oh, we didn't even talk about Tara. There's too much in this
shit.
episode.
Okay, I'll wrap everything up now.
No,
Tara?
I wanted to talk about this too.
Okay, what was your take on Tara, Allie?
No, go ahead, because I want to just talk about the flashback.
Okay, what flashback?
She flashed back to
That
fighting
she had.
Deathstroke. Dylan, go.
Oh, she'd apply. Tara's with Artemis, and last episode you're like, oh, Tara's still gonna betray them. And then this episode comes, and I'm like, oh, she's actually forming an emotional attachment with Artemis. Like, Artemis basically has this whole speech, which is like, you know, evil people are evil, but I'm a good person. And Tara's like, oh, there's good people? That's interesting. That's the summary
I love
of that
summary because it's
What's
so
that?
true.
There's people good.
There are good people?
And I was like, oh my god, is this Tara not gonna be evil? Please don't do the show. Please don't ever betray. Like
if they actually subvert like the plot we're all expecting, I would actually be really impressed with them.
I know I'm like optimistic now, and I don't want to be because they're not going to do it.
I know
but,
they're not,
yeah.
but like I would literally be impressed with the writers if they realize that everyone knows where this is going and they don't do it.
Yeah.
Was there anything else, Dylan, besides Tara you want?
Well, what was Allie's thoughts on Tara?
Oh,
Okay, so in the flashback, the guy who was training with her, A, had Slade's outfit.
yeah, it's
B,
Deathstroke.
was
It's
that her
Slade.
dad?
That is Slade.
Or was it her dad?
No, it's Slade. It's Slade Wilson.
Oh, I don't know really anything about the actual character. I just remember him from Teen Titans.
But
so
it
I
is.
was
It's
like,
the same character. That's all you need to know. Go ahead.
Well, how is he like related to that family? Like he's just.
We don't know. Okay, I'm also very unclear on all the people in the light
Yes,
and their backstories
we have no
and
clue.
stuff. So, but it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
All right. I just freaked out at that because.
Well, no, yeah. So like this plot from Teen Titans and this plot here is based on a comic where Tara is with Deathstroke / Slade. Like this is based on a comic story and they're adapting it. And unfortunately, in the comics version, Tara is still 14 and there's a sexual part of their relationship. Yeah, and that's why everyone really does not. Did you not know that, Dylan?
I didn't know it was a real thing in the comments. I knew people interpreted it like that. It's a real thing.
Oh no, it's a real thing.
Okay.
It's a real thing, Dylan.
That's not good.
Yeah, no, that's why.
Okay, Dylan's other random thoughts. The new metas. We don't have enough people with superpowers. Let's introduce more people
Dylan,
with superpowers.
we're gonna do that. I expect the last episode of this season to be introducing like 100 new characters.
This is the Ladybug with giving everyone miraculous. This is the show with new superpowers. There's no crossover with these audiences. That's fine.
There's
but,
zero.
I like the fish girl who needs to breathe in. I think that was. I have no clue what the point of all of that was. And then she's in the tank in the ship.
You don't. It's obviously setting up Aquaman's girlfriend.
Oh my god! Yes.
Is this a comics character?
No, I'm just saying that this is obviously they're getting a girlfriend for Aquaman.
Well, they're gonna do something. Please no, but they're gonna.
Fish girl.
It didn't. Yeah, it didn't have any. Aquaman's a furry. Are fish people furries, or do they don't have fur? So it's scaly.
But there are.
How could I not know the term scalies?
More importantly, there are actually like fish people in this world.
What's better, the cats in the Cats trailer or the fish girl?
I don't want to answer that. We're moving on. Dylan, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Who's hotter, Taylor Swift cat?
All right, let's
or
wrap
this
up. We're done.
Guillermo del Toro fish monster.
Yeah. Is this just Shape of Water situation? Is that what it's going?
You can find out all the info on this podcast.
No, I have more thoughts. The meta, and then the dude joins them at the end. The counselor from the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, why do you have a problem with that?
His name is apparently Eduardo Ed. That's his name. I like this character, but I don't know.
He's gonna be what's his name's boyfriend.
Who?
Flash.
Oh, okay. That'd be
no. Static and Kid Flash had a very long hug.
I know the girl at the clinic likes him.
Yeah, no. Eduardo's definitely getting with Wendy, the girl that controls Wind and has the collar.
Oh.
But earlier in the episode, like right before this, Static goes up to Kid Flash and says, I'm sorry for your loss. And like having one like kind of empathetic line. And then
I'm like, who are both of you?
Yeah, essentially. But Dylan, they hug. They hug for like
that's good.
For a long time. And I'm like, and the camera goes away and it comes back and they're still hugging. And I'm like, that's a really long hug, guys. Like, I'm okay with it, but like, That's more than just a friendly hug.
We'll see if we do something with it. Even though I'm like not necessarily liking Ed in terms of importance in terms of on the main team. Okay, what I did like about this was it connects the Outsiders, the new main plot of the show, to this stupid team clinic thing, which we've been doing in the last episodes. We're connecting a lot of things in the show and actually having a main storyline. Wow, this is really good considering we just did a lot of random stuff before. So I like him joining the team because it puts a lot of puzzle pieces together.
It does, but it felt like it took way too long to do it for me.
Yeah.
Like, I wish that this doesn't feel like 17 episodes of like character build up. This feels like one or two.
Yeah. I don't even know if he was in the first half.
I don't remember, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, I'm gonna end it now before you start talking about cats again. Unless, Allie, you had some final thoughts. Because Dylan just gave all the final thoughts.
There's less final thoughts, more of things we didn't talk about, but that's okay.
Like, Dylan, we didn't talk about these things because most of the things you talked about, like, were nothing. Let's be honest.
I did get your opinion on the fish girl, okay?
I didn't want to talk about Fish Girl because I knew that's what you were gonna do.
Allie, what's your opinion on the fish girl?
No! Allie, don't you dare. Don't you dare engage. Do you have any final thoughts other than Fish Girl?
I ship them.
I hate you. We're gonna end the podcast.
Who? Her and Aquaman?
And Aquaman, yes. Oh my god, we need more Calder.
You can find out all this info on the podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can join us on Discord to talk about the Fish Girl, to text chat about animation at overlyanimated.com/Discord. Dylan will most definitely be there talking about cats and the Fish Girl.
I'm gonna post out the fish girl as soon as this is.
Yeah, no, I know you will, and I know you'll be talking about cats and standing it completely, Dylan. You can support us via Patreon at patreon.com.
I did not say I'm standing the movie.
Okay. Well, obviously you are, because you brought it up.
I fucking hope you're not.
I'm definitely gonna meme about it, but that's it. I'll see it and meme about it. So basically I'm standing it.
Yeah. Anyways, support us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, John. And thanks, as always, to our patron executive producers, Ryan, Steve, Alex, Beatrice, Hugh, and Michael. There's a lot of things going on with San Diego Comic-Con right now. I mean, you guys...
Oh yeah, there's the DC Universe panel is tomorrow, so we have not seen that yet. That's why we have not talked about it. Yeah. It's because we have not seen it.
I don't know what they're going to say at that panel, other than DC Universe is going away.
Right, I mean, well, the big question is, like, will they announce a season 4?
I mean...
Is that the question?
I think here's the thing. I would love if they get another season. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh no, they got another season. I just want them to fix some of the things we've talked about. Because I do...
I think the show's really good.
I want to say, like, I had fun with the show. Like, I think I've been negative because I am talking about things I would like to fix, and that's just the way I talk about criticism. That's how I criticize things. But I like this show. I do like it, Dylan, just to be clear.
Yeah, I mean, you're clearly the most knowledgeable out of us, so, you know.
Like, there are things I wish it was doing differently, but that's because I have a different context for a lot of them, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys. Before we talk about more Fish Girls, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Gurgle.
No.
Alright, that's it.
Blub.